The number one danger of fasting is not what you think. It's not getting so weak and tired that you fall over. It's not going hypoglycemic and super low blood sugar to the point that you collapse. No, it's something that's very, very correctable and something that I have actionable steps for you to utilize to make sure it does not happen. So I have 4 steps to really fight off this serious danger that could occur. Fasting, generally speaking, is quite safe. Our bodies are designed to handle periods of time without food. In fact, I would go on record and say that it's probably something we should be doing, going periods of time with fractal eating, where we take breaks from food so our body develops an ability to use our own fuel sources. But that's a rant for another day. What is the number one danger? The number one danger is losing your muscle. Now, before you click off this video, I have very strategic ways that you can make sure you maintain muscle with fasting, because it is a real concern. Let's not completely just put it aside. I know that in the fasting community, we like to get excited about intermittent fasting and fasting in general being muscle preserving, but let's really be real here. If you cut calories dramatically when you're fasting, you're going to lose muscle. It doesn't just magically preserve itself. If there's not fuel, you're going to lose muscle. But what we've learned recently is that there are very specific things you can do, okay? The most important thing you can do is strength train during your fast. Okay, so when we are fasting, you probably have heard people talk about the increase in growth hormone that occurs during a fast. The increase in growth hormone is, although decent, it's not enough to build muscle. The pulse and growth hormone that we get during a fast is a survival mechanism to help us maintain and preserve the best that we can, okay? But we can capitalize on this elevated growth hormone, and we can send a signal to the body that our muscle is important. So step number 1, and probably the most important, is to do resistance training during your fast. This does not mean that you do this crazy type of stuff. Okay, we just want to fight off the danger of losing our muscle. Why is losing our muscle so dangerous? Is it just because we're not going to look as pretty on the beach? No, it's because our muscle is what allows us to maintain insulin sensitivity. Our muscle is what allows us to truly have longevity. Our muscle is what protects us when we fall, when we start to get older and we don't want to be frail. We take a look at the research in longevity science and we see that having muscle mass is probably one of the most important things for overall longevity, health span, and lifespan. So we want to pay attention to this. When you pick up a weight and you resistance train, you signal to the brain, not to the muscle, you signal to the brain that this muscle is relevant. So that means that the body will do what it can to preserve that muscle. So being hungry and triggering this hormonal hunger response can actually help you preserve muscle, but only if you utilize it. This next one is very, very, very important, and that is taking days off. Why is this important for muscle? Because if we fast every day, even when we are strength training during our fast, our body is going to adapt to that. What I like to do is have my non-fasting days, the days that I am not fasting, be caloric surplus days. I know that I'm not going to build muscle on a day that I'm intermittent fasting. The goal on a day that I'm fasting is purely preservation. It's purely damage control as far as muscle is concerned. I'm not building muscle a lot that day. I am going to, however, build and maintain heavily on my non-fasting days. So I increase my calories quite a bit on my non-fasting days. I increase them about 10 to 20% above what my normal maintenance is. Why? Because the next day when I'm fasting, you can rest assured that I'm going to probably be in a deficit. So this way, at the end of the week, my calories are balanced, and I'm not just dramatically reducing calories over time, wasting muscle. Muscle preservation is very top of mind for me, and by having these days that I'm not fasting and increasing my calories, that really makes it sealed that I'm not going to break down this muscle. It's the number one danger. We have to be aware of this. The next thing I want to make sure you do, there's 2 things. If you absolutely, positively must have some form of protein during your fast because you start getting hungry, something like that, having a little bit of collagen protein is probably your best bet. It's lower leucine, so you're not gonna have a big insulin spike that kicks you out of a fast. It's zero tryptophan, so it's technically not a complete protein. So you can get some benefit there and it can be good for the gut. I would recommend you don't do that unless you start getting really hungry. But if you start finding like I'm starving and I need to get through this fast, a little bit of collagen protein is good. But the other half of this equation, protein, protein, protein. When you are fasting, your body is breaking down muscle. It is, okay, unfortunately. It's called muscle protein breakdown, and it doesn't just happen at a muscular level. Protein degradation and protein breakdown happens at a cellular level too. Autophagy, all this, it's okay. But when we break our fast, when it's time to eat, we have heightened signals to repair that. Okay, so it's okay that everything's breaking down so long as after the fact, there's sufficient protein to repair what was broken down. So if you go into your eating period and you skimp on the protein because you just indulged in some cake and now your brain is happy, that, my friend, is when you're going to waste the muscle. You're going to waste the muscle after the fast when you don't replenish properly. So this becomes extra, extra, extra important. So good quality protein with good amounts of heme iron, good amounts of lean turkey, good amounts of lean red meat, good amounts of eggs. Get that protein in. I popped a link down below for ButcherBox. If you need a place to get good meat, it gets delivered to your doorstep. It's grass-fed, grass-finished. I would say a safe half the time that I'm at home, that's pretty much the meat that I eat. I eat a lot of meat, so I can't always get it all from ButcherBox, but I'd say about 50% of the meat I eat is from ButcherBox. So that link down below is for grass-fed, grass-finished beef. They also have really good quality poultry, really good quality wild-caught fish. They've got cod, they've got sockeye salmon, they've got scallops, they've got shrimp, they've got bacon, they've got breakfast, they've got everything, and it is so good and so responsibly sourced. So that link is down below. You get it delivered right to your doorstep. Big thank you to ButcherBox for the continued support and sponsorship on this channel and for helping me be able to get the protein that I need to not lose my muscle. What if you do start losing muscle? Like, how do you know? Well, this is where you have to really keep a wolf at the door for this stuff. It sounds like a lot of responsibility and it almost sounds like maybe you just want to throw in the towel and not do it. But when you really understand how simple and easy it is, it's not that bad. The way that you know you're losing muscle is not by stepping on the scale. The scale's going to confuse you. The mirror is even going to confuse you because when you look in the mirror, you have varying amounts of water retention. You have varying amounts of water in the muscle, intracellular volume. If you go and work out and you lift a bunch of weights and you get blood flow into the muscle, then you go look in the mirror, you're going to look leaner and bigger and more muscular, right? But did you gain any weight? Did you change body composition at all? No. Right? That's a perfect example of how just blood redirection, capillarization, all these things can play tricks on you, and sometimes you don't know if you're actually losing muscle. The best way to know that you're losing muscle is how is your strength. If your strength is decreasing while you are fasting or through your fasting regimen, something needs to change. If your strength is decreasing, that is your marker that it's time to slow it down, pump the brakes on the fasting, fast a little bit less, or at least get more protein in. If your strength is going down, you're losing the wrong type of body tissue. It's okay to lose weight. It's even okay to lose a little bit of strength, but you don't want to continually be losing strength. If you start out and you're bench pressing 200 pounds, and 3 weeks later you can't get 200 pounds anymore, there's a serious problem. But you also can't freak out the first time that this happens. You need to have it happen repeatedly to know that it's a problem. So this is a very clear indicator that something is wrong. Another way to know that you're fasting too much and it might be time to back it off is if you never get hungry. I talked about this in another video, but hunger is what drives the metabolic benefit of a fast. If you're not getting hungry, that means you're not releasing more ghrelin, you're not releasing more hunger hormones, and you're not releasing more signals to the body to burn fat and do positive things for the metabolism. It can still be a good thing for you overall. It's still good to fast, but it's time to take a break if it doesn't get hard every now and then. So just to recap, to avoid the #1 danger of fasting, that's very legit, move your muscles and resistance train during your fast. Okay? Take time off from fasting to make sure you get enough calories and protein in. Make sure you get enough protein during your eating period. I would recommend at least 0.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, closer to 1 gram per pound of body weight if you're trying to build, okay? Also, you can have that collagen protein if you really get hungry during a fast and you want to keep it going. And lastly, pay attention to your strength. If you get weak, change something. As always, I'll see you tomorrow.